don't move it that way. Please don't move that way.
Why?
Now I have to reposition that camera. It's good. Yeah.
Okay, this is good.
1, 2. Okay.
What are we doing with this podcast, Tim?
I don't know the plan of it. We just like Natalia and I, we talked about it, and there are moments where we want to be raw and just direct and stuff like that, and just like include you guys in the conversation. Nothing out of ordinary.
Yeah, we also want to do this in the video too. That way people can connect with
You can
us.
see us. You can see when we smile. And like we can just, I guess, be more of us.
Yeah. So today's idea is to share a little bit more about us.
Yeah.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
And I have no clue what the topic is today. We're just saying hi, I guess.
Yeah.
So my name is Tim. I don't know. I go by Timofey. By Tim is good.
Yeah.
Right.
And my name is Natalya. Drozhzhin. Took Tim's last name when we got married.
Yeah.
We own a recipe site, Momsdish.com. That's kind of like where you probably have seen us more.
Which has been going on for many years. Since actually, 2011?
Yeah, we started in 2011
Right.
as a passion project.
Right.
I kind of want to start with, I did a little bit of kind of outline. Tim has no idea what's
I have
happening.
no idea. This is a surprise
I was like,
for
he
me.
just show up, but he's done more than showing up. He set up this whole thing.
This is interesting.
So how about we start? And I kind of want to focus on you a little bit more today because I feel like people have seen me more on social media and it's mostly my face. So I feel like you're the start today and just get to know you a little bit. Tell us about you, your upbringing, where you came from, where were you born?
Okay, so all right, cool. Something about me. So this is kind of like being a child wanting to write a book about yourself, and then growing up and realizing nobody really cares about you. But here it is. Here's a question about what I grew up. So I grew up in Siberia. My dad was born in Ukraine, but ended up he's an adventurous man. That's actually the reason why he ended up in U.S. But ended up going to Siberia, the coldest place. He doesn't know why. I don't know why.
But he met your mom on a train, right?
He met my mom on a train.
Yeah.
Because he was just a very, very adventurous person. And yeah, that's where I was born, Siberia.
Yeah. I love Tim's dad. That's going to make me tear up.
Don't do that.
He actually passed away a few years ago.
Right. Yeah.
And very much missed, but he's so upbeat,
Yeah.
amazing. Just was really fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
He never sat on one spot. He never sat on one
Yeah.
spot. Right.
And I think we had that connection because I'm more upbeat too, like very outgoing.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Move on.
So you're born in Siberia. Then eventually you guys moved to US. How old were you when you guys moved?
I was 9.
You were 9. And you guys moved where? I know a little bit of this, but I'm going to ask you as if I don't know anything.
So we ended up in Seattle, which is Washington State, which is, that Northwest tends to be where all the immigrants come in.
Yeah, fresh off the
They're-
boat.
yeah,
The boat is there.
They all take us in. So, and that's where we grew up until we,
Then we, a little. Do you want to
too.
share a little bit about your childhood there, or do you want to jump
yeah.
into
So it's all
our
about
marriage?
me. I'm not going to talk about you or what.
We'll talk about me a little bit later.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, mainly about you for now. I feel like people know so much about me that now we're gonna expose you.
We grew up actually quite poor, and this is almost. I was almost upset. My dad was like, "Dad, why do you always keep trying to help other people?" Because he was the kind of guy who always took in people to his house, always took care of them.
He had a missionary's heart.
He did, yeah. And I'm like, man, we could have. Although I actually really like the fact that we got to visit a lot of people's homes and have a lot of friends on the way. But so back in Siberia, going back a little bit, we made about, that was 90s, we came in 94. We made about, I believe it was right around $30 a month. Okay, it was 90s, that's probably like 60 today, but we were poor and majority
That
of
might
our,
be more than 60 though.
no, I'm serious.
$30 a month was quite a bit in the 90s.
$30?
Well, I mean, not
Really?
a lot, but still more than
Maybe-
60 probably.
You know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
$300.
No, not 300.
No?
The inflation is definitely not that
Okay.
much. But so it's not like we were well off. We were always like we didn't have enough food. Actually, looking back, it's like wow, that's actually pretty crazy. But when we came to US, neither did we come with a lot of stuff. So I remember on the way coming to US, like my dad bought a bottle of Coke. We're like, wow, this is our second time seeing it. And then the first time when we came to US, I asked my aunt if she can, if we can try a banana because we haven't had that before. I've seen other
Never
people.
tried banana until you came to US?
Yeah, no.
Not once.
No, of
That's
course not. I've seen
amazing.
people eat it, but we couldn't afford
Not
it.
amazing, but not
I
good.
can count on my hands. Like I had an orange, I think 3 times in my life, or three
You
times.
probably ate them for Christmas.
I had grapes, I think, twice, and it's Siberia we're talking about. I'm not upset though. I think it was an awesome experience. But when we came to America, yeah, that was literally where we lived. So the first place that we got was it was a $300 a month rental unit. It was actually a garage that a person renovated into a rental unit. And so for us coming from Siberia, we are super happy about it. So I'm not complaining at all because it really was to us. It was like, wow. It was a one unit. No, we didn't. Well, it did have a room. It had a room where my parents slept, a kind of a living area where we slept, and then a tiny little kitchen on the way to the restroom. It was like a two-car garage that was converted into a living space. So this is where we started out.
I
Anything
have
else?
seen it before. We drove by a few
yeah,
times after that. So
After a
it's
while, my parents
incredible.
felt like it was a ripoff, $300 a month for a garage. But we that's when we
Slowly, you
just,
guys moved out of
Right.
there, then
Yeah.
got into apartment.
And I appreciated my dad because he was the kind of guy, he did not, he refused to stay in the welfare system. And he's like, hey, we came to this country, let's start working. And we all kids, we worked since
So
we were
going back
little.
to welfare system, maybe this is gonna be like a good explanation for people that have never been through it. So as an immigrant, when you come to US, a lot of immigrants, not everybody, but a lot of immigrants do get welfare system, a support system. So you get food stamps,
Kind of support, yeah.
you get financial aid. It's not enough to like get you by enough, but like it still gives you like a good, like, I appreciate America for that because
Right.
it gives you like a good stepping stone. You're not thrown on the street.
Yeah, it was good. We were on welfare for 3 months, up until we, figured out where we can work, and we made our way to work.
Okay, so jumping in, kind of gonna fast forward a little bit. You guys, your parents both worked. Mom and dad worked.
And kids, we
and
all
kids.
worked. So we
That's
worked.
true. You guys cleaned
Right.
church or something like that.
So every Saturday we worked on. We cleaned a church. That was a couple of hours, not a couple of hours. I think like 4 or 5 hours
Child
every
labor.
Saturday. Child labor. In the summers, we'd pick berries. So the only thing I didn't like is to wake up at 5 a.m. and then we went with all that.
5 a.m. is torture. If they said 12 a.m., you'll be fine with that, picking berries.
It was great. I mean, we spent family time. I was the slowest, but it was still.
I love how humble you are. You always say, "I'm the slowest."
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, jumping ahead. So did you lived in that town for a while, then you go to college?
Yeah, obviously we wanted that through that from little to tiny place. We explored different apartments. We ended up living in this phenomenal city, which completely changed my mindset of schools ever since living in that place.
True.
Right? Yeah.
I thought you're going to joke about Tacoma because Tacoma is like has the worst school
Yeah,
district.
we started with the worst schools, and the apartment that my parents got was actually a very crappy apartment. But the schools were 10 out of 10, the best schools. It was called University Place, if anybody's from there. And after attending those schools, I quickly realized, because we went back from that place back to Tacoma, because the cheap city is where we can afford the housing. That's where my parents went back and bought a house. And I was super upset at them. I'd rather live in an apartment but have that kind of education that we had there. It forever changed my mentality. And forever I said to myself, hey, whatever I do, I may live in the worst place, worst house, but I want to make sure my kids attend the best schools. So went back and forth when we moved to this nice city in the crappy apartments. Then later on got our own house, better house in a worst neighborhood, you can say that. A lot of other immigrant kids there, but went to college, and college was one of those things was very dark because I did not know how it works. My parents didn't speak the language. Neither so we left from Soviet Union, and in some ways, there's a lot of persecution, right? We got the refugee status because there was a persecution going on there. And a lot of people don't realize how excessive that was. And because of that, a lot of people were prevented from attending colleges, preventing from getting certain education degrees. So my parents, first of all, they were not familiar with a lot of the systems, and second of all, neither were they familiar with American system. So the whole thing of trying to find that path in a city where majority of the kids drop out of high school. Actually, my middle school was the second worst in the state. It was horrible. I loved the teachers there. They put in a lot of hard work, but it was really not a good school to send your kids to. And then my high school happened to have a shooting the year before when I went there. It's not a good high school either. But yeah, and no one really could direct me how to properly go to college. What classes do I need to do? What are like certain prerequisites or running start and all those programs? That was a bit of a challenge.
Yeah. So then you finish college as a running start, and you actually get architectural degree, and you're good at it too.
Yeah. So I went to college at 16, and we just had this program, Running Start, that allowed me to finish high school at the same time as I finished college. And you don't know as a kid, you don't know who you want to become.
But actually, I feel like you picked a really good one for yourself.
Because
I picked to be a nurse and everything about medicine, and you picked to be you're an artistic person, creative person, and I feel like being an architect kind of flows through your wings.
Yeah, it was one of those things like, who do you want to become? I'm like, do I want to be an electrician, a construction worker, or
Every Slavic person is a construction
architect?
Worker.
And it's like, I like to just draw, so that was kind of it. Never really used it throughout my life, but that was what it became.
You actually did use it for a little bit. So when we met,
a little bit,
jumping ahead again, then you meet the best person in your life.
Yeah.
Very humble. Tim is the humble one in the family.
I did pick the best, so there's
I'm just messing around.
Right.
But so when we met, you worked as an architect. Well, you were working for an architectural. Tell me a little bit more about that.
They call it house designer because I only had 2 years of education versus an architect has about 4 or 5 years. I believe it's a bachelor's or a master's degree that you have to get. Then you have to get licensed with the state. So that required a lot more education and licensing. So I was considered as a house designer or architectural house designer. It's just like
But then
terms.
the company found out you know something about computers
so
and marketing.
I come into work, and the first thing the guy says, like a few months, the guy's like, you should not be drafting homes. You should be a designer, or you should be working in magazines. I ended up designing and publishing magazines. I was just really good in digital marketing. Yeah.
So like more of like drafting online, and you were good with technology.
I was good at technology. Yeah,
I think you're still good at technology.
Yeah, this is one of those things where my dad always said, "Do not be on computers. Don't be like those kids."
Well, actually, you know what? Your dad said don't be on computers, but he gifted you a computer at a very young age. You were 14?
No, the first one I built myself in school.
Where did you get the tools for
in
it?
school. In school.
In school. But then dad got you a computer and you took it apart, right?
Yeah. This is funny because it's one of those things that like I naturally became good at it. It's like it's a love and hate relationship. Well, I don't like computers. I want to stay away from it because it makes me super nerdy, and I don't like that. It cuts down my communication skills, I feel like.
You're great at communicating. Can you guys agree? Like he always says, I'm not good at this. And he's like the best at communicating.
The thing is, I used to, when I work in computers, I don't use a mouse. And this is, I guess, what a lot of people were amazed at. They're like, "What? You're not even holding the mouse." I'd be like, click, 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 and all the windows will be shifting. And it's just, I'm a big fan of shortcut keys. And that's where I drove people nuts. They're like, "Wow, you're so fast." And I would finish all my digital classes, even with computers, at a fraction of what it took people to do
like
it.
Speed.
And so a very fast speed, yeah. And so
I think you're naturally really, been married to you for almost 20 years now, but like naturally you're just really good at
techie stuff.
Editing.
This is my
I'm like, why is my mouse not working? It's just like, are you kidding me?
It's like the weakness that I don't know. Like it's something that I don't want to do, but it's gifted. I don't know.
Man, all the compliments you're getting from me today.
I appreciate it.
Am I getting brownie points?
Let me interview you for a bit.
But okay, so you go on to this job. At this point, do you want to share how we met?
Man, I don't know. I wasn't planning to get married. My dad got married at almost 27.
Was it like I show up and you're like, You know that music playing, somebody walking slow motion? It wasn't like that.
No. My first reaction of you is you laugh a lot. You're
So
super
giggling.
giggly. And that was honestly, there's two things that really, really matter. I think it's two. And that's when laughing. A person has to laugh. A person has to like really, really like not take life too serious. And a second is to love other people. It sounds really, really like
Cliche.
yeah. But that means a lot. That means like if you're gonna love other people, my dad loved other people. I took that from him. I can't give credit for myself.
That's where we connect with
his
Tim's
credit.
dad.
Yeah. So when I see that, I know you and I are both going to have similar journeys, and that was a big thing.
But any other details?
Any other details? How I met? Oh, God, goodness, I don't want to.
So Tim and
share
I,
too
can I
much.
share a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, so Tim and I talk for about a month, and the year
Less.
before,
Oh.
I go to Ukraine with his brother. That's kind of the connection there. We went to different churches, so we didn't even like have that connection. Didn't know each other at all.
It was some to Ukraine. It was like the young people were going to like some missionary trips to help some people in
It was mostly helping elderly people.
Yeah,
Just kind of like, I almost feel like it was like a good self trip. So I go on a trip with Tim's brother, and Tim's brother was younger than me, and I found him. Like I think our personalities clash.
Yeah, I was going to say
it was a
clash
little
of
annoying.
personalities.
I hope he doesn't hear this. But at the time, it was like, just leave me alone. I never had a little sibling, younger sibling.
That's what I mean. He picked berries faster than I did. He was a
So I
fast
think
personality.
we did clash because
Right.
of that. And then he talked to Tim about me when he came back.
Had a lot of good things to say about you.
He did, surprisingly. I think he treated me like an older sister.
Yeah, I talked to him about the missionary trip, and he was like, like we ate in the morning. We did this. There was one girl that got up at 5 a.m. and prepared food for everybody. I'm like, whoa, slow down on that one. What? She's like, yeah, she got up and brought in all the wood at 5 a.m. and did all that. And I'm like, wow,
We didn't bring in wood.
Oh, is it for a fireplace or something? I don't.
No, we didn't have one. It was like maybe something. Maybe you
Oh,
don't
maybe
remember.
the
It's been a while.
flowers. You know what? The flowers?
Yeah,
Did you
there were flowers.
Maybe you brought in
filled,
the
maybe.
flowers.
I don't know.
Okay.
I made
But-
vareniki before. on a
Okay.
trip.
And the fact that at that age, it was all about self-will. It probably still is. And that's why I'm like, wow, this person
I'm just
really has
outgoing. There's nothing special about that. And like, it's funny how like, I guess we all find our match, but to you it was so important. To me, it's like, I just naturally get up early and I just go about my day and I like to stay busy. So
self-driven. It's huge. I mean, that's not the only quality, but that speaks volumes about a person.
I don't know. Well, thank you. And so we meet later, like way later.
I guess I randomly just want to visit your church or whatever.
No, so I called your brother to ask about a
that's
service, and you pick up the phone. Tim's voice was very rusty,
Yeah.
and you lost your voice.
I think I
and
purposely did that.
No, you actually lost your voice. That was our
No.
first connection.
Purposely picked up the phone.
Oh, maybe. I don't know, girl. Let's call your brother.
Yeah.
And so then I asked him a question. I think it was like a church service or something like that. So I was like, what time will it be? And you're like, I'll find out and let you know. And guess what? Sneaky boy. He texts from his number or calls me back from his number, not his brother's.
Of course. But there was no serious plans. There's
No, but that evening I lost my voice.
Oh, okay.
And I texted you. You know the texting where I have my phone with me, but you had to like type many times the letter or the number. That makes me feel
I can
really
still
old.
do it right now.
But like you would type so fast. Those were the phones that we had. And I wrote you and I said, man, I lost my voice too. And that was the first time I feel like I made a move.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like you kind of, you explore your options, but you never know when that person is. And I wasn't even planning to get married. I don't know.
I was, so I think I was open to getting married because I was the youngest out of 5. And I mean, in Ukrainian culture, you get married pretty young, especially like early on and I was already 18.
Right. And
So I was like, I'm ready to get married, but I wasn't like planning. I really wanted to marry a guy that was much older than me because I felt like every guy that was 18 was very immature.
Yeah.
So I was not even considering you.
you just wanted an introvert. That's all.
No, but then I sought him and he was so composed.
It's called an introvert.
A geek. You don't mean to be called geek.
I don't. Well, I don't want to be called a nerd. A geek is okay-ish.
Nerds are smart.
Nerds are more nerdy. A geek tends to be semi-social.
So
yeah.
I saw you. He was very composed, very like. Well, Tim says sometimes that like you said it earlier in this interview, that I don't know how to speak, or sometimes you'll say, I don't know what to say.
I lack communication.
Oh, that's what you say. Yeah. I'm like, dude, you're really underestimating yourself because that lack of communication is incredible because you're not lacking anything. So you're good at it.
Appreciate it.
Hooked me up. We talked for a little while. No, after that, it's like 6 months later, we started talking more. And then I was telling him that, hey.
Was that 6 months later?
It was about 6 months later. Okay. And then, actually, maybe it wasn't because you used to come over to our church and you saw me before that.
It was like we're just a friendly relationship up until like the last, I'd say 3 weeks when we actually
talked every day.
Dated for like literally 3 weeks.
We dated on the phone. So Tim becomes jumping forward, Tim becomes a truck driver. And he's driving a truck during this time, and we're talking daily.
Became truck driver at 18.
Because you were trying to make money really fast, just like every other Slavic person.
That's where you get the serious, always the serious
cash flow.
No,
you were 19 already.
No? Well, I was 19. I was 18 when I went to learn it. That's when I began driving a truck. By the time I graduated,
But that was the fast way you wanted to make money. Yeah. So at this time, you're driving a truck, and then he proposes to me on the phone because I told him I'm going to go to Ukraine again that summer. He didn't want me to leave because he was scared that I'm going to get married there. So literally on the phone call, he's like, wait, you're booking a ticket today? Wait. Gets off the phone, gets back on the call, really like nervous. I was like, what is happening? And he proposes.
Well, I didn't think
and our parents were shocked.
I know, I didn't think you were going to get married. I just thought like, we may become, disconnected or something. And I did not want to lose out on the opportunity. It's like, I wasn't planning for it, but I'm like, man, she ticked off every box. I'm having fun. She loves people. She is like, she's driven. And it was one of those things like, I just cannot let that down. And you're beautiful. So, yeah.
So we get married 8 months later.
Yeah.
We don't have kids for a little while.
Like right now, looking back, I would never recommend anybody to date for 3 weeks. Some people are like, oh, that's a great example. No, I don't think that's a great example. I don't think anyone should just date for 3 weeks. But
I think if my daughter did this, I would be like locking her in a room and be like, well, we don't have a daughter, but like, right. And I probably would not lock her up, but I would definitely consider locking her up.
Yeah, it's definitely short, but that transparency that I felt then, actually, we still have that transparency going on. Just you could see that the person is honest to you, and I was honest back. So that was we had a good start, and people say like it wasn't like that Tim was the only, like this sounds bad, but like it's not like you were the only option of a boy that I had. No, neither were you the only option.
Yeah, neither. Tim was like very popular. Their family was very like well known.
My dad was known. But,
well respected. So you had a lot of girls that liked you, and we just like really fast shock everybody, get engaged, and everybody's like, "What just happened?" So it just felt right. Even though we're so young, but it just felt right. When people say, "How do you know?" It just felt right, and it's hard to explain. I don't know if it feels right when you're older, but
the options you did have were good options. I some of the people that I
all
knew,
in the friend zone.
Hots for her, they're good people. So
yeah, they are good people. They were my good friends.
Yeah, make sure they are not friends after you get married. But
okay, so we're gonna skip over a lot of things. Your life.
And do what you're best at.
Huh?
Do what you're best at. Shortcuts.
Shortcuts. Yeah. I was like, what am I doing best at? But just skipping over big part of your life, because I think we could talk about that more in other episodes. But about you right now, a lot of people ask, what do you do at Momsdish? And if that's the only job you have.
That is the only job I have. And it's a very, very big job, right? We have a lot more people than just us. And it's very, very hard work. I do technical stuff. I run all the back end. So it's actually a very complex, I feel like, work. Kind of like anything looks simple up until you get to there, and you're like, "Wow, this is very complicating here." So we have many different softwares. We have like 10, 15 different series of or different softwares that we have running, for marketing, for search engine optimization, because you're not going to write a recipe that nobody's going to be searching for. So there's a lot of this research going on, a lot of graphic software to create that
The email
editing,
systems.
the email. That there's so many, it's insane. So first of all, I run all those things. This is why I am like operations manager. I create the systems that make it work, and also the website, the back end of the website. That's that love and hate relationship that I have, the software that runs it all. So yeah.
So yeah, Tim runs a lot of our backend, supporting our whole team. We have a team of people that you support. You have communications, ticketing systems, things like that.
Hundreds, thousands actually of tickets.
Stuff that like is beyond me, like beyond my brain. And he's very helpful.
But it's impressive. It's fun. It's fun when you work and you're like, wow, this is amazing. And there's things always working. There's multiple tickets. Like every day we have like 100 different tickets close out with a lot of work.
And then like I'm somewhere out and about and I go on the website and the website's down. Tim is the one that I call. I'm like, hey, the website is down.
Which is because we have all
it
this
happened last week.
Sometimes it happens. It wasn't our fault that time, but still, it's like one of those things. All right.
But I wouldn't know who to call, so I call you. Tim takes care of it. Okay, so at this point, I feel like this is kind of getting long.
Okay.
I want to do some rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
And they're going to be quick. Tim is often long-ended, and I told him before this, I was like, do you know what rapid fire questions are? And he's like, yes, but I'm not good at them. So we'll see.
Horrible at them.
Your go-to comfort food.
Oh, I mean, comfort. Well, comfort.
Yeah, comfort
I
food.
think, man, anything like soups would be good, right? I like vareniki, like pierogi or something like.
That's true. You love vareniki.
With cheese. Yeah.
Yes. If Tim's ever mad at me, I can make him vareniki. What can you cook for me?
Oh, that's a tough one, right? The only thing I pretty much do is coffee.
Besides coffee, yes.
Coffee. And I think the real answer is not because necessarily I don't want to cook, right? First of all, I don't have to, right? Because I'm taking away the fun from Natalya. But also because I think Natalya tends to be a little picky with what she wants. She wakes up and that day she knows what she wants. As a matter of fact, Natalya is so decided in her life that everything, she has her whole life down to the schedule. As a matter of fact, we have this family calendar with every single thing down to the dot planned out, which actually I enjoy because it synchronizes within the whole family. And the whole
We do
family
have
knows
a family calendar where everybody sees what's going on. If we're on trips, I don't really plan the hours, but I'll be like, what do you guys want to do today? And we plan it out. I love having a plan. And I think I eat based on mood. So it would be really hard to cook for me. But you're good at breakfast, but I don't eat breakfast. So
coffee, I know she drinks coffee every day. So
coffee any minute of the day. I'll take fourth and fifth one. Okay. Well, speaking of happy, this is a question for me, but I'm going to ask you. People say that you're always so positive on video. Are you like this in real life, or how do you stay so positive?
Oh, I think you're even more happier in life. It sounds weird, but I think in videos, on video, you tend to like focus too much. Yeah, tense up or try to be very perfect. Almost feel like you're even happier in real life. So yeah, that is you. You're just very bubbly. That's what attracted me to you in the first place.
I feel like this situation right here is gonna, like, if you're watching the video, not listening to us, you probably will get to know us more in a real, because it's slower, it's not rushed. So, but what kind of keeps me so positive, I'm a very optimistic person. I'm always like, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, parents
like
came
literally
to
there's
US.
nothing worse that can happen.
She shares sometimes like, hey, parents started their lives in US. Your dad was like 47. It's like they started with nothing. Like, I have nothing to lose. I've really liked that
even
personality.
like I feel like we both lived through the worst because we are immigrant kids, lived in Soviet Union in the 90s.
So
I mean,
what's
our
the worst
parents,
that
I
can
feel like
happen?
our parents lived through worse than we did, or our grandparents, but still, like, what is the worst that can
They're
happen?
doing fine.
We live in the most beautiful country.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Italy and other countries are beautiful, but I mean, we live in very amazing setup here in US, the comfort wise. So I'm very optimistic,
She's
very
definitely
positive.
happy in general.
Have you had any arguments that lasted a few days?
I love how everything is right on topic. No. So my emotions do. And I think the emotions built up within time.
You hold things in?
Yeah, and you don't really realize how long you hold it in up until later. You're like, oh wow, I'm still thinking about it. So as in emotions, they do stick around, and I try not to right now. But arguing, no, I speak it out loud. And sometimes it's not pretty, and I try to make it pretty. It's very hard, but
Marriage.
we both speak it out.
Yeah, and we're very different, so that just makes it a little more challenging
We're
sometimes.
very different.
But we do
Whole
speak our mind.
Whole different topic. Whole different topic.
True. We'll do a marriage topic if you guys want to. Let
We're
us
as
know.
different as different can get. It's like,
True.
what are you guys doing together?
Guilty pleasure you cannot resist.
Chocolate. It can't be just any chocolate. It has to be dark chocolate.
Okay, early bird or night owl?
Night owl. As a matter of fact, when I was growing up, my dad was an early bird. And the whole time he would say how important it is to be an early bird. And it made me feel like being a night owl was a bad thing. Made me look lazy, and I felt lazy up until I grew up. And I got to work next to some very, very smart people, like the tech scientists or whatever you want to call them. And they're all night owls. Their ideas, the brightest ideas, the best software they've ever written came after 3 a.m.
I'm literally laughing at you right now because he keeps on saying this to me literally all the time. I'm an early bird, and he'll be like, the smart people, they stay up.
Well, it's just that kind of reconfirm, like, okay.
So connecting everything. I get grumpy when I'm tired at night. I'm an early bird, and then he tells me that smart people stay up, and I was like, I just don't want to be here right now. I don't care how smart you are.
There's definitely people. No, there's smart people that work in the morning.
But that image just needed to be drawn.
Yeah, it's just the mind wakes up in the evening, or I try to go to sleep earlier because it's better when we go to sleep together. But like I said, we're so different. Like you are an early person, I'm a late person. It's insane. Just very, very
favorite way to recharge.
Ooh, okay. Wow, that's an interesting one. Wow, favorite way to recharge. It probably has to be. It sounds cheesy, but it's education.
Wow.
Yeah. Taking a lesson. So we fly a lot, and a lot of times
Mine is housewives.
Housewife. That's not bad too. I just feel like I'm wasting time with the housewives, although it's fun.
It's a recharge.
This is weird.
Hold on. Okay, if you weren't doing what you're doing right now, what would you do otherwise?
Now, I know before that you mentioned politics.
Oh, that's right.
Because we briefly chatted and our audio cut out, and you mentioned something like politics.
You would be a politician.
I'll be a politician, which is really interesting because to hear that from you, because I don't know.
So here's what I was thinking. I now remember. I think that you would have a podcast about politics, which I am just deadly afraid of because
politics.
Yeah, you would talk about freedom of speech, things like that. So I am deadly afraid of those topics, religion and politics, because of what happened during COVID.
So much.
I think my reasoning for never talking about those two topics is because I don't want to be in the middle of the left and right people. And I get very passionate about things. Yeah. So when I pick a side, I am just going to be talking about that side. So that's my
And I don't think you need to pick a side. Because
but we all naturally as humans do.
I think everyone climbs on the mountain, right? That Mountain Everest or whatever, from different sides. And everyone can share the story from their point of view. And I think this is the beauty of living in US. I'm very passionate about, the US. The fact that...
Okay, hold on. 1 second. Last rapid fire question. Something that you're passionate about that people do not know.
Okay, well, that leads me right into that. I'm very passionate about what we have here in the US. And it sounds cheesy and everything, but I'm very passionate about the fact that we live in a country that not only houses different races, different religions, which I think is so beautiful, but people with different understandings. And there's sometimes people say like, yeah, but these guys are wrong. And I think, but this is the beauty of having everyone on the same planet, and not just same planet, same country. I'm super passionate about. And this isn't one of the things like if I would be passionate about something, I would be about freedom of speech, freedom of expression.
You
Because
would support somebody that's having freedom of speech.
even if it's different
podcast.
than I am, right? I would definitely support, and
I have
I
a
would
feeling,
love to learn from
okay,
them.
I have a feeling we'll open up a can of worms
Right?
that people will comment and be like, but what about those people
Yeah.
and those people? So
And those are
hopefully
the
you guys
people-
don't kill us in comments for this.
right, right. And I think those are the people that often have something to teach me, right? Because I'm learning from them, and it's just
Tim, you can tackle the comments at this
really,
point.
yeah.
Woo, almost fell off the chair. Gosh. Okay, that's probably a sign that we should wrap this up. You guys, this is when we really, really want to hear from you. This is the moment that we kind of decide where we go from here. Do you want to know about more topics? Do you want to hear us talk about certain things? Please let us know in comments.
Don't
Please
say politics.
subscribe.
We're not going to talk about politics.
Maybe you will.
That's
No,
fine.
we're not going to talk about politics. I will shut that down.
If it's politics, it's about bringing unity. It's never to cause division. I don't think that's good.
Yeah,
It sounds like next time I should interview you more, since I kind of got the juice of this all.
I think so. I think we can
Just.
share a little more about me.
Yeah.
But okay, well, that's it for the video. If you stayed till the end, thank you. I know this was very long, longer than usually. And yeah, bye.